Hi everybody, welcome back. My name is Howard Hall. I've been involved in the camping industry for over 35 years. Today I'm going to make a dark video about deaths that's happened at summer camp and how they could be prevented. So with no further ado, let's get started.
Go, 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 gorilla, go, nah, go.
Okay, I ran across this one. We already talked about it once, but I figured I would talk about it again. And this is about another summer camper getting killed because they got struck by lightning. Now, this happened to a camper in Manchester, Maryland during a severe thunderstorm at summer camp he was attending. Now, according to the executive director at camp, the boy, his counselor, and 8 other children tried to gain shelter as soon as the storm started rolling in. Bissett said before they could get there, the storm came in fast and it came in strong, knocking down a tree and other debris onto the top of the group. And 1 perished and 8 campers were injured. Again, preventable. The entire accident could have been avoided if the counselor was able to monitor their weather on their cell phone, or if they had a radio and somebody was monitoring the weather from be it the kitchen or the office that could notify them more in advance that this kind of weather was coming, they would have had plenty of time to get to shelter. So, if you're a camp director, during staff training, talk about weather. Give your counselors a way to keep track of the weather, be it their phone or be it weather radio. Now, I just wanted to touch on this a little bit. I worked at a camp in Maine. I'll even tell you, it was Camp Wasiata. Camp Wasiata was a camp where Disney Channel filmed the show Bug Juice. And they had a siren that went off when it detected lightning. And I was told when I first got there, the reason they had this siren is there's something about the geographic location or the ground or whatever that attracts lightning. Never heard of such a thing. Within my first 2 weeks, there were 3 storms that came in. And it was like the center of camp had a lightning rod in it. You could sit there and just watch lightning strikes come down to the center of that camp. But they were ready for it. Every camper or every counselor had a radio. There was a weather radio in the kitchen because the kitchen staff's always in there cooking. When they hear something, they notified everybody out in the field, and we went in the structures and we got out of the way before the storm got there. So don't send campers out with counselors without any way to keep track of the weather. It makes no sense at all. Avoidable? 100%. Okay, this one here just saddens me. This is the worst thing that I have read in my entire life when it comes to something at summer camp. So I'm going to add it in. Take it with a grain of salt if you want, but I just think that it's something that people should be aware of. Okay, they called this guy John Smith the Demon Camp Counselor. Now, John was a camp counselor who's went down in history as the worst camp counselor of all time. Definitely not a record that you want. First of all, he ran a Christian summer camp in a place called Winchester College, where he abused boys by beating them so hard that one even tried to commit suicide rather than to be abused by this counselor anymore. One boy later revealed that he locked himself into the toilet and he cut his wrist. Yeah, he cut his wrists and swallowed some tablets that he found in the cabin, which turned out to be aspirin. And he said he felt relieved that it was all going to be over. Can you believe this? Okay, another one said that he made him strip off all his clothes and he got out a cane and started to beat the camper or the camper. He said, this is discipline that God likes. And by me doing this, it's going to make you become holy. Okay, man. I mean, seriously. Can you believe in this day and age that something like this is even possible? Now, I could see where a camper would be scared to go tell someone. Okay, if a camper is threatened by an adult, they're going to be scared and they're not going to say anything. But this was 100% avoidable. Common frickin' sense. At no time should any counselor be alone with a camper. It should not happen. That should be the number one rule that your camp director talks to you about during staff training, and that's never be alone with the camper. Now, if this Christian camp, if that's what you want to call it, would have had common sense rules, this would have not happened. I mean, seriously, you should never, ever be alone with a camper. Okay? If something comes up, and I don't know, you're off to the side. The camper forgot their bathing suit in the cabin. Take another staff member with you and you walk up. I mean, the chances of something happened are close to nil. I mean, but you don't want to take that chance. Just an accusation of something like that, even if it's unfounded, can tarnish your reputation forever. So, again, never be alone with a camper. Okay, again, we've talked about this many times, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. Not all states even require that a summer camp have a license, which means no license, no inspection. Now, that one is a pretty big one. Now, if I found a camp in a state that did not do any licensing or any checking in on the camp to do an inspection, the first thing I would do is see if the camp is a member of the ACA, the American Camping Association, and if they were, I would not worry about it whatsoever that the camp is not licensed by the state, because the ACA regulations are much, much higher than any state in the United States when it comes to licensing, except for the state of New York. I was in New York for quite a few years, and their regulations are insane. 25% of the camps out there are not accredited by the ACA. That's a big one. To be honest with you, I would not even send my kids when they were going to camp to a camp that was not inspected by the American Camping Association. I just wouldn't do it. It's all about safety. Now, staff training. Now, staff training is where these kids that come in that don't know anything about how to deal with children, don't know anything about their behavior, don't know anything. That's when they come in and they're trained on how to deal with your child. Now, it's the camp's responsibility to train them. Now, when I did staff training, it would average out, if I was at a camp, that the duration of a camp week, or duration of camp is 1 week, I would do 2.5 weeks of staff training 7 days a week. I would hammer home anything that may come up in camp, anything that they would need to know. I would teach them how to deal with problem campers. I would teach them everything. And 2.5 weeks, I would rather have 3. It wasn't feasible to do. So one thing you want to ask your camp director is, how long is their staff training? Now, if this camp director is telling you a week, that is not enough. So don't forget, call, ask how long that their staff training is. So anyway, end of the video. Thank you so much for stopping by. I know it was a dark subject. I picked up a couple new subscribers, which is really, really cool. I'm excited about that. I need less than 75 to get my own URL, which I'm looking for. Don't forget the giveaways, the quilt that's coming up here really soon that I'm excited about giving away, and then the campfire jacket when I hit 100. So anyway, thanks for coming by. Like, share, peace out.
Go, 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 gorilla, go, now go.